Welcome to the Magic of Material and Technology project produced for Physics 1202. My name is Amanda Peters,
And I'm Rachel Roy.
and today we're talking about and getting a closer look on the material steel. The original hypodermic needle was first introduced by Charles Pravez and Alexander Wood in the 1850s. Both men had the idea and created the syringe due to the difficulty of experimenting with blood transfusions. The barrels that constituted the syringe were initially made of metal until 1866 when it was replaced by glass. This switch in material design allowed for practicing physicians to be able to observe what medication remained in the barrel. Shown here is a scanning electron microscopic image of the hypodermic needle. There is an observable beveled point in the needle. This is designed purposely because it creates a sharp pointed tip that allows the needle to easily penetrate the skin.
While there are many different companies that produce hypodermic needles, the basic steps for production, including needle formation, remain the same. The needle is produced from steel, which is first heated until it is molten and then poured into a mold that meets the requirements of the size of the needle. Along the production line, the steel is rolled to form the continuous hollow wire. The needles are generally made of heat-treatable stainless steel or carbon steel. Many are nickel-plated to prevent corrosion. In 1809, Francois Magendie outlined a method for injecting medication into a dog by using a coated wooden barb. A drip needle was invented by F. Rind in 1844 for administering morphine under the skin. In 1853, Alexander Wood created the first hypodermic needle by modifying a regular syringe to treat patients with morphine suffering from sleeping disorders.
So where do we see steel being applied in our everyday lives, and what makes it so important, and why should we actually care? Well, take a look around your kitchen, and you can find countless examples. From your cutlery to pots and pans, knives, doorknobs, faucets, sinks, steel is everywhere. Another common place you would encounter steel would be in every mode of transportation, from ships, airplanes, to cars. Steel adds durability and robustness in its design. Even if you look around, you may see houses, towers, bridges, highways, all which contain steel from the smallest of building blocks, including screws, bolts, and nuts, which are incorporated into the construction of these everyday objects.
The history of steel is traced back to the emergence of iron, which is the main component of steel. Around 2,000 years into the Iron Age, steel made its emergence. Steel itself is an alloy of iron and carbon. Benjamin Huntsman developed his crucible steel technique in the 1740s. He made satisfactory cast steel in the clay pot crucibles. The Second Industrial Revolution changed the way that steel was mass-produced, making it cheaper by using Henry Bessemer's converter. The Siemens-Martin process became the leading steel-making process by the early 20th century. The availability of cheap steel allowed larger bridges, railroads, skyscrapers, and ships. The most common process for steel making is the basic oxygen furnace, around 74% of the world's steel. Iron is combined with varying amounts of steel scrap in small amounts of flux. A lance is introduced and blows 99% pure oxygen, causing a temperature rise. The scrap melts, impurities are oxidized, and the carbon content is reduced by 90%, resulting in liquid steel. Carbon works as the hardening agent. Steel is used in a number of applications in modern construction that includes the building of railways, roads, buildings, and bridges. Most structures are created with a durable steel skeleton. Structures that use concrete also use steel as a reinforcing material. It's used in construction materials due to its durability and strength, which includes screws, nails, and bolts. It is found in steel wool, vehicles, appliances, and armored vests for security and law enforcement.
Economically, the steel industry has a large impact. According to the American Iron and Steel Institute, in 2017, the steel industry contributed to not only more than $520 billion in economic output in the United States, but also added 2 million jobs to the economy. Overall, the steel industry generated $56 billion in federal, state, and local taxes, making it an extreme contributor to the United States economy. The properties that make steel are very important to its composition. This includes its great thermoconductivity, its durability, strength, stiffness, and elasticity. Another important property that differentiates steel from other materials is its Young's modulus value. This value represents the ratio between stress and strain. This number ranges from 190 to 210 GPa, which is almost 3 times the value for aluminum.
And these are our references.